Listen. Welcome to the LME live streams. Where pretty much every Monday we go over on Letterboxd, and I try to log everything that I've been watching weekly to just give you guys some more recommendations, and then at the same time, not only talk about the new movies that are out for the week, but also answer some questions over on the live stream. So shout out to everybody who's watching over on the live stream right now. But I wanted to do something a little bit different because we are in festival fall season. That pretty much means we've had TIFF. What else? We have New York Film Festival. We've had a bunch of other ones. And usually when we do the must-watch list that we're gonna get back on, the festival's already over. So I wanted to use these live streams to kind of put some festivals on your radar because there's several that are going on right now, and because they are all virtual, you can pretty much pick and choose which movie you want to watch over here on this one, and then on the other one, or even get a cheaper pass where you don't actually have to worry about standing in line or any of that stuff. So the four that I'm attending right now, and one is missing because it's about to wrap up. But if you have not been on it, definitely check out the Chicago International Film Festival. That's the one that I'm in the midst of right now. I'm starting off with the shorts, but then eventually I'm going to get into a bunch of the movies. There's several that I'm excited that you can see right here. Night of Kings is a really dope one. I actually did get the chance to see One Night in Miami. I'll be logging it in a bit. But this was one of the first ones that I wanted to put on your radar. As you can see up here, I think it's almost cut off, but it's running from the 14th to the 25th. And like I said, you can buy yourself a pass. Um, but a lot of the stuff are individually available. And just so you know, some of the stuff on here, I think it's like $12 a ticket. But when you go over to AFI or on some of these other ones like Philly, they might be even cheaper because over at AFI, they were having those bad boys for like $8. So you could save yourself $3 more for some of them. Some of them were even $15. So some of these festivals, they have the same lineup or they have similar movies. So I would just suggest looking those up. But like I said, Chicago International Festival, pretty good. One of the other ones would be News Fest, which I'm almost done with right now. I have a couple more movies that I've been wanting to watch on here, but I'll be doing a whole fall festival LME. But we are covering these weekly over on Intercut. If you do go check out our Intercut podcast, News Fest is a pretty good one because they have two recommendations that I have in my thumbnail right now. If you can see them right there, they had Shiva Baby, which is fan freaking tastic, and I absolutely love Cicada. So those are two. If you wanted to check out, again, you can check them out individually or get a pass, which I think is even cheaper here, like $95. You get to watch every single thing on their lineup, so that's pretty dope. That's New Fest right there. I have them all in the description as well. And Philly, Philly's one of the last big ones that's going to be starting up, I believe, October 23rd up to November 2nd. And then, as you know, all in November, December is when they usually release the movies. And with the Oscar changes, I know it's going to range until January. But Philly Fest has got some pretty good ones. They also have a badge where you can watch everything if you're over there in Philly because they're doing drive-ins as well. Or if you're not in Philly like I am, you can get yourself this bad boy right here. I can't even see it. My bad. Philly Fest. You can get yourself this bad boy right here, the long distance pass, and pretty much you can watch a bunch of the movies that they have available all throughout the U.S. There's some geo blocking that happens over here as well, unless you have a VPN. But you're able to watch a bunch of the movies that they have there for $100. So I mean, if you look at the math over here, it's going to be cheaper than the $12 that I said as well. But they got some pretty good lineups. As well as Indie Memphis Fest, which is another one. Yo, this bad boy is $25. You get yourself a pass to watch the movies from the comfort of your own home. But those are some of the festivals that I wanted to put on your guys' radar. Definitely check those out. But I do want to break down some of the ones that I actually caught already. Starting with News Fest. So I'll log some of those right now. Shout out to everyone in the chat, as always, who's tuning in on this little live stream over here. I'll be answering some of your guys' questions throughout, but also any picks that you guys may have, because it's not just me putting films on your radar, but you guys putting films on mine. But the first one I got to put on your guys' radar is Shiva Baby. This one played at South by Southwest. It's actually based off of a short, as you can see right there. This was the short, and I had to use the poster because they don't have a poster yet for the actual feature film. But it's the same director, writer, who did both, and even the same cast for the most part. But pretty much you have a woman who goes to a Shiva and runs into her baby daddy. And it is like uncut gems in terms of how many different dialogue sequences are like happening at the same time or over each other. I thought this movie was absolutely hysterical. I loved it. I would highly recommend it. Like I said, you could watch it from the comfort of your own home right now. It's playing over at New Fest. And I think it's like $12. Definitely worth the stream. I absolutely loved Rachel Sennett, who I've seen her in some some, I guess it's like a mini series or something that Comedy Central has, but on their IMDb it doesn't even pop up. I think it's called Ayo and Rachel, if I'm not mistaken. Hilarious stuff over there. Killed it in this movie. This one is also playing over at Newsfest, so I'm gonna be purchasing this one to rent as well. Tahara, I don't know what this is about, but she is she's hilarious enough that I'm gonna watch anything that she's in, and I highly recommend Shiva Baby. So add that to your list if you have not. Another one that I caught over at Newsfest is Cicada. Now I had heard good things about this one. Absolutely adored it. It's half a documentary, but not necessarily because the people who are telling their stories are the actors in the movie, and it's also the writer and the director. It takes place in 2013 when all the cicadas came out, and you pretty much have this dude who's not only coming out, not only is going through an interracial relationship, but at the same time, there's a backdrop that's going on dealing with the Sandusky trial, which, if you remember that, it goes deep into it. I personally really loved this movie. I thought it was fantastic. Another one that's playing as New Fest, like I said, and it just did. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. There's some comedic elements that come out of nowhere that absolutely worked for me when things were getting like really tense throughout the movie. I thought it's very introspective. To compare it to another movie that came out earlier this year, I Carry You With Me, which also had that kind of hybrid style where the director says it's not fully hybrid. But I thought it was fantastic. Cicada is really good. Highly recommend that one. And another one that was out at Newsfest to log in here was called White Lie. I believe this one had originally played at TIFF, if I'm not mistaken. And you pretty much have a girl in high school who is pretending that she has cancer in order to raise up all this money. And I thought it was hilarious. While at the same time being extremely tense because she has to pull a Cartman and has to cover up every other lie with another lie with another lie with another lie. But I thought it was absolutely thrilling. Highly would recommend this one as well. And then let me see what else we have over at Newsfest to log in here. And again, we'll be going into more depth with these over on the Intercut podcast. But some of the other ones that are playing in there, for those of you who are fans of the hunky Henry Golding as well, he's got this movie called Monsoon, which really plays on the idea of Henry himself, I believe, is half British, half Malaysian. So here he's playing someone who is half British but half Vietnamese. And the reason that he had left Vietnam was because he was a refugee, and they got away. And now that he's coming back to spread the ashes of his parents, he's coming back 30 years later as practically a tourist. And he reconnects not only with his family, but he also reconnects with somebody else who's there because his father served in the war. It's a very slow movie, but I think some people will really enjoy it. I think it'll hit for a lot of people who definitely are immigrants and have had that experience of going back, and everything is completely different, yet still kind of the same. I think the movie does a great job at honing in on that. And I know the director's previous one played at Sundance. I have not caught Lilting, but this is one that I'm adding to my watch list because I thought it was a pretty interesting premise that it had going with it as well. But Monsoon, another one that's playing right now over at New Fest. Another one is Cowboys. Can't remember where this one first premiered. Let's see. Some other people are asking me, giving me some recommendations. Art, you need to check out the South African film Malfi. Make sure to add that on my list right afterwards here. Then some people are asking about Aaron Sorkin. We'll get to the Aaron. We'll get to the most recent releases in a bit. But another one to put on your radar, Cowboys. I thought this one was a pretty cute film. You pretty much have Steve Zahn, who many of you may remember from National Security is where I know him from the most. But Steve Zahn plays a father who practically kidnaps his daughter, while Jillian Bell, who plays the mom, is like super conservative, and she doesn't believe the daughter when she comes out and practically says that not just recently, but she's always felt like a boy. And her dad believes her so much that she decides to run away with her, which the man does not realize is a legal offense. But I thought it was a cute little movie. It gets a little crazy at times. I personally thought the ending was a little goofy without getting into spoilers. It would never play out that way. But another one I have on your radar. If it interests you, check out the trailer. Let me know your thoughts on that one. I saw a couple of documentaries. One of them was one on Keith Haring, which I knew very little about, but I always see this man's art everywhere. Keith Haring, Street Art Boy. You've seen, I'm sure, some of his stuff everywhere. I thought it was a pretty good breakdown from some of his closest people who know him, just breaking down who he was as a person, how he got his inspirations, and all the ups and downs that he went through. How when he reached fame, he realized it was the complete antithesis of everything that he stood for. But I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was a pretty good breakdown of him. Highly recommend it. Another one would have been Killing Patient Zero, a documentary detailing the AIDS epidemic that happened with with some of the. It's crazy to think that it takes like 30 years to look back on some stuff. News outlets, White House briefings, and you're like, yo, they had it completely messed up back in the day. And you realize that it's not just back in the day, but it pretty much retells the story of who would have been patient zero during that time and how everything spread. Um, Pretty good breakdown. Recommend this one as well. But then moving on over to some of the other ones that I've been able to catch between the Chicago International Film Festival and some of the other ones. One Night in Miami. Just got to put this one on your guys' radar. It is the directorial feature debut of Regina King. I believe she is Tony away from getting the EGOT, but she absolutely crushes it with this movie. I thought it was fantastic. It's based off of a play, and I'm really big that when a movie's based off of a play and they try to adapt it, many times it feels very stilted. I think she does a fantastic job because it not only just takes place in a room for the majority of the movie where they're having this conversation, but the way that she's able to intercut other footage and the way that the discussions bounce off of each other and the way that the cast is just stacked, that was absolutely fantastic. A lot of people are talking about, they're going to be talking about, let's see if I can even find him. I don't even think he's in this picture over here. But the dude who plays Malcolm X, I think that's going to be the standout to so many people. Um, Jim Brown over here, played by Aldous Hodge, I thought was pretty good. A lot of people are going to like this dude who plays Cassius Clay, but I thought the dude who played Sam Cooke killed it. I thought he was the standout to me. Like I said, I think a lot of people are going to side with Malcolm, the dude who plays Malcolm X as being like the lead, one of the front runners for performance of the year. But Sam Cooke stood out to me. Just the breakdown that they had, not only with the way that his character was written, but the performance, fantastic. Highly recommend this one. Put it on your radar. It's still playing at a couple of the festivals that I mentioned, so definitely put that there. But absolutely loved One Night in Miami. Let's see, what are some of the other ones? I've been catching a couple of shorts, but I'll make sure to log those a little bit later. Some of the regular ones that came out, I believe On the Rocks comes out this week if it isn't already out. And I know a lot of people were asking me about this movie. It is the new Sofia Coppola, where she's practically, I'm not calling it an autobiography, but it's her father, who would be Francis Ford Coppola in real life, played by Bill Murray, and she thinks that her husband's cheating on her. And this man may know a thing or two about about cheating. And it takes place in New York. And if you don't know, there was like a whole story that went on about how one of the flower shops where they wanted to film was like going on strike and putting all these things up in front of their store because they didn't think they were getting paid the amount that they wanted to get paid. And I was siding on the side of the flower shop, because a lot of film people would just come in and just want to use the entire street. But when I tell you, this movie's it's by A24 and it's gonna be on Apple TV. Yo, those shots were beautiful. They were absolutely fantastic. And I personally thought the movie was enjoyable. I thought it was kind of funny. The banter between these two I thought was fantastic, specifically because of the type of people who they are, the type of lifestyle that they live. But Bill Murray was hilarious in it. I thought Rashida Jones was lovable in it. And even the storyline with Marlon Wayans, who plays her husband, and the more that you learn about him, I thought it was a cute movie. It's not a masterpiece or anything like that, but I did enjoy it. And he says some of the funniest lines of the year, in my opinion. Another one, which is the complete opposite, but I'll be talking more about it later. It's called Gunda. This is a documentary completely shot in black and white, also doing the festival rounds right now. I know when it premiered overseas, a lot of people were split on this either being an absolute masterpiece or just being the most pretentious thing possible. And I think it's going to fall in between for a lot of people. It worked for me. Again, a reminder. This is just a bunch of pigs, cows, and chickens shot in black and white on a farm. But when you hear the director's backstory and how he had a relationship with a pig when he was a kid, it reveals a lot of things. It's also produced by Joaquin Phoenix. And once you watch this movie, especially the ending shot that's 15 minutes long, you'll understand that speech that he gave at the Oscars. I'll be talking more about this movie. Zach's got a pretty good breakdown, and we talked a lot about it over on Intercut, so definitely stay tuned for that. But if this was one that piques your interest, one of the most beautifully shot movies of the year for sure. I don't think that can be denied. Let's see. Another one is Into the Labyrinth. This one I believe is out fully on VOD. I don't think it's streaming yet. Yeah, it's just out on VOD at the moment, but Alina really liked it. I thought it was a cute little twisty tale. You pretty much have this woman who's been discovered, and she's getting treated by this doctor because she was missing for a long time. She was kidnapped by this ginormous rabbit, and now that she's free, they're trying to break down what did you go through there, and it turns out that she was kept in a labyrinth. And while they're trying to figure out and crack, all of the memories that she's lost, you have another detective who's trying to crack the case, but with him also having like a limited amount of time to live. So it's a thriller that I didn't think delivered to the max, but Alina did. So I'm curious to see where it lands on you guys once you guys are able to catch this out. But it's a nice little twist turner of a movie that's out there at the moment. One that I would prefer, and it's on HBO Max, is called Heroic Losers. This one played at TIFF, but I missed it. I ended up really enjoying this one because it's a movie where they don't refer to themselves as thieves. They refer to themselves as heroic losers, and it takes place in Argentina during a moment right at the turn of the century in like 98 to 2001 where for them they had a ginormous economic crisis. Like the banks just froze all of the money that they had, and it puts you in a pretty crazy scenario. So what happens here is that they become like these heroic losers who are just trying to get the money that's owed to them. It's over on HBO Max. I would recommend it. I thought it was very enjoyable. Again, Argentinian film where the director even worked with his son, as I was just listening in on the interview. So that one's one to add on your radar if you got HBO or HBO Max. I believe it's just HBO. I'm not sure how they're splitting the HBO Max to the HBO ones. That's still confusing even to me. But a couple of the other ones before I run over here. Trial of the Chicago 7. Someone was just asking me about scores. Aaron Sorkin himself, who I'm a big fan of Aaron Sorkin. Like, look at the movies that this man has made, right? Directing wise, he's only got Molly's Game, and I know a lot of people weren't a fan of Molly's Game. I enjoyed it. Writing wise is where this man obviously excels. These are all great. All great. Love Steve Jobs. One of my favorites. One of the greatest of all time over here with The Social Network. Moneyball was even in the top 10, over on Netflix this past week. He's also got West Wing. The man's a genius at writing. And directing, a lot of people gave him criticisms for Molly's Game. I didn't see it. I enjoyed it. I kind of see it now with the Trial of the Chicago 7. I enjoyed this movie. I thought the witty dialogue is all in there. But two things. One, they did Yaya dirty. They should have had way more depth to his character. There are some moments where they just bring this man in and they just made him like it was kind of just like the butt of the joke. But when you remember that it's like a real life story, a lot of it has to succumb to the writing of Sorkin. And I'd never thought I'd give a Sorkin film a 2.5, but off my first viewing, again, it's got all the energy and everything in there. But for me, there's a lot more I want to say. I might make a full video on it, but it is based off of a true story, and there's a lot of aspects to it that I think go. It reminded me a lot of a Christian movie, and that's the last thing I would expect to get, from an Aaron Sorkin movie. Like this bad boy. If you've seen God's Not Dead too, there's a lot of things that parallel over here where it's like the entire thing is one-sided to the degree that the only time that they question anything that happens, it's like a hypothetical from one of the lawyers, and it's like God's Not Dead did the exact same thing, and there were certain beats that it was following as well. Still an enjoyable movie for the dialogue and for it being the courtroom drama that it is. Not my favorite, but it's over on Netflix. Curious to know people's thoughts on that one. But another one that was out there. Let's see. I'm halfway done through Rebecca, which is another one that's coming out. Totally Under Control was a new Neon doc. There's a couple of documentaries that came out. Let's see. Someone had said, I prefer Molly's Game over Trial of the Chicago 7, 100%. Someone had said, have you seen The Devil All the Time yet? I have. Working on a video for that. Same thing for I'm Thinking of Ending Things. But this one, where things were literally ending. It's supposed to be the secret documentary that was shot while the whole pandemic was happening. And I'll be completely, it's a well put together documentary. Does it say anything extra if you were not paying attention to everything that was going on? No, but it's beautifully cut. Like if I were to mark down all of the stuff that I would have put together for a documentary, it would have been everything that's in this documentary. But all of it's mostly out there. It doesn't say anything that I don't think you already know for the most part. Like it's just it's just documents. Like even some of the stuff that it says, um, from the perspective of like obviously going against Trump, I think even kind of added to like why he did the stuff that he did. But it comes from a director who previously did Going Clear, and I thought this was one of his best documentaries over here. I was able to catch this one over at Sundance, Inventor Out for Blood, which is being turned into a full feature length movie with Jennifer Lawrence, I believe. Um, this one was good, but I almost feel like you're going to see YouTube documentaries that are done better. Let me see what else we got over here, and then I'm going to go over and answer some of you guys' questions before heading back out and catching up on some of the other movies from the film festivals. Oh, I saw Clouds. This is a new Disney movie that came out. Clouds. It's based off of a true story. Um, Yet the like account from the mom is like very religious, and there's only like one cross that you see in the movie. They practically swap out what would have been the inspiration, was their religion, would have been Jesus Christ. Instead of JC, they got JM. Jason Mraz is like the moment, he's the person who he sees, and he has this whole like inspirational thing for wanting to become the musician that he is, because it's based off a true story of Zach, who had cancer, and even though he got months to live, like his YouTube single blew up, and this was YouTube before the YouTube that you're looking at right now. It looked a little bit different. And it is one of those like cutesy movies where you get to a point where he's like dying up on the stage, but everyone like sings with him, and that's supposed to make him feel better. A little goofy at times, but it's one of those tearjerker type movies. I just find it interesting that a movie like Breakthrough did not relinquish all of the religious aspects of it and was still able to make a competent movie that even got nominated for some Oscars. But this one, they like stripped it completely. Uh, and that's only a big deal because like that's the entire account of the mom. Like that was the whole point of the story. One of the biggest excuse me, through lines to their tale, and I don't know, that got stripped for the Disney Plus version of the film. But hey, now you got Disney Plus original movies that are coming out. It was all right. It was fine. See, I have a couple more over here. Broil. Let's see. Some people have said, please do a list of series on Hulu that are worth watching. I definitely want to do probably some over on our website, theazshow.com. Just get a couple lists over there for like what's good on some of these streaming services. Movies you think are overrated or overhyped but still enjoyed. Oh, there's plenty of them. I guess I'll say Steve Jobs, since we were on the Aaron Sorkin road. I know a lot of people don't like that one, but I personally do enjoy it. Someone had said, Art, if you streamed on Twitch, I'd gift subs 24/7. Well, I appreciate that, but I think I'm gonna stick to the YouTube game. Let me see. The Malfi one. Yeah, definitely. Let me make sure I'll log Malfi and get that on my watch list. I have seen this one. Not seen it, but I've seen the poster to this. Add that bad boy to the list. Let me see. Let me talk about Broil real quick. Broil is, I don't know the budget on this bad boy, but you pretty much have this granddaughter who gets sent back to her very rich grandpa, who decides to, not him, but his family is trying to run a coup, and they want to take over the succession practically. And this poor girl who's just there because she was bad at school is like, wait a minute, we're vampires. And it's this vampire story about succession, about just trying to hide what they do, and also how that makes them super, super rich. It was an okay tale, I'm curious to see what Edward Drake does next. But it's one of those ones that's got a pretty low budget. The acting's a little shoddy here and there, but interesting story. It's always a miracle when you're able to put a movie together, so I'm curious to see what he does next. Let's see. Let me answer some of the questions that y'all have over here. Someone had asked, have you seen Pink Skies Ahead? I have not yet, because I will be watching at the Philadelphia Film Festival. So I'm glad that you guys have it on your radar, because this is one that I'll be catching soon. Someone had said, what do you think the Oscar contenders are for this year? Let's see. Personally, I think Netflix is going to have a big year. I think with Mank, right? I believe is what it's called, Mank. Yeah. David Fincher might see us first. A lot of people think that Hillbilly movie is going to get what's it called? Hillbilly Elegy. That it's going to get a Amy Adams her first Oscar, which would suck, but that's usually how it goes. You know, all these fantastic performances, and it ends up being for like a hillbilly Netflix movie. Excuse me, but I don't know. I think Netflix is gonna have the biggest year so far. That's if they hopefully don't move this stuff to be something else. Someone had asked any classic films that are next on your watch list. I know someone else had asked some stuff over on Criterion, so it's a bunch of Criterion flicks that I'm just trying to go through. Nothing in any particular order. I guess I'll say come and see, since that's been one that's been recommended to me a lot, and people just say it's gonna ruin your day. Check it out, 5 stars. So I'm just waiting for the day where I'm not gonna do anything and just watch Come and See, because I know it's a pretty long one, but that one's definitely on my radar. LaShawn says it hasn't come out yet, but Small Axe by Steve McQueen. We've talked about this over on the Intercut podcast. Zach, I think, was able to see 3 of the 5 because he was able to attend New York Film Festival, so he was able to see a couple of them. I don't know if it comes out as Small Axe. Oh, it does. All right. An anthology series of 5 stories. Interesting. I like how they have a Small Axe one over here, but then at the same time, each movie is individual. It's interesting because what they're doing is all of these are going to be picked up by Amazon, and starting late November, I think, you're going to see this first one, which is Lovers Rocks. They are all full-length movies, but it's being released like a series of TV episodes because that's how Amazon Prime is marketing them. But they're all by Steve McQueen, every single one, and they're going to be released weekly. So every Friday there's going to be a new one that pops out. So I haven't seen any of them yet, but I heard that Red, White, and Blue is like the standout. But then that like Lovers Rock is completely different than what we've seen Steve McQueen do in the past. So I'm excited. Like this is 5 full feature length McQueen stuff that's going to be coming out on Amazon Prime. So stay tuned for that. Someone said they just saw the Mirrorwitch stories and they thought it was good. Hey, dope. Sounds fantastic. RecTXXT says, how you doing today? I'm doing well, sir. Hopefully you're doing well too. Have you seen Antebellum? Yep, I mentioned this a couple times in chat before, but I will be making a full video on that one. Do you see, I'm thinking of any things will be nominated for anything? Hopefully script, and I would love to see, I'm blanking on the actress's name, because I've loved her in so many other stuff as well, but Rosie? I don't know why I'm blanking on her name. I'm thinking of ending things. She was also great in Beast, which I think is a very underrated performance from her. Definitely go check that one out. Jessie Buckley. I think she deserves a nomination. She was great in Chernobyl. Definitely go check out Beast if you haven't. I was surprised she didn't get a nomination. I don't know if she got a nomination last year for this. I think only the song got nominated, but she was fantastic in these two. And even in Misbehavior, which came out this year as well. Someone said there's a new David Fincher movie. Yes, sir. What's your favorite Dutch movie? Ooh, let me see. Make sure it's Dutch. I think it's Dutch. There is a movie starring Mads Mikkelsen. If I even know how to spell Mads Mikkelsen. Just search up Mads over here. And I believe it's Dutch. The Hunt. I think. Is it Judge? Is it Dutch? I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, it is. There you go. The Hunt. Go check out this bad boy. And anything that Thomas Vinterberg does. Fantastic. Fantastic director right here. Have you seen anything from Lupin the Third, the First? I have not. Maybe there should be something I should check out. The Witches trailer, I haven't caught that one yet, except some stills that I was like, yo, what the heck? Minari definitely should get its first Oscar. I wish. I hope. Oh, a little super chat there. Shout out to Shar. All right, can we get some Patreon for Intercut Pod, please? Yeah, that is something that we want to do for Intercut. That way you guys like actually have a say when we're recording the Intercut, because usually we record it just by ourselves through the camera, and then Zach edits it. But we want to definitely add that live stream aspect to it. See, Freshie says, anyone remember A to Z reviews or not? Nah, completely forgot about it. Is Detroit worth a watch? I wasn't the biggest fan of Detroit, but you know, I would recommend a lot of other movies. For example, one of the ones that I really liked from Sundance 2018, if I'm not mistaken, Monsters and Men. But I've mentioned this one multiple times. Highly recommend this one. Check that one out. Someone says, a Russian movie that I loved at the start of the year was Beanpole. Did you see that one? I actually did. Log that bad boy over here. And my thing had glitched, to be honest with you. But because it glitched, let me see, how do I find my review? I don't even know how to find my review for this thing. I pretty much put beanpole. So then everybody's responses after me was, yeah, here. I had accidentally just wrote beanpole, and then everyone just said beanpole afterwards. So I really liked it. I would highly recommend it, and I'm very curious to see what the director does next. Do 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 do. Someone says best movie of the year so far. Hmm. Um, Minari was mentioned. I think that's one of the best ones. Out of Sundance, my personal favorite still, even with all the new ones that I've been catching up with, has been Boys State. That one's over on Apple TV. If you want to go catch that one as well, this one's pretty good. That's coming out that I think is pretty promising would be Promising Young Woman. Thought that one's pretty good. Nice little thriller. I almost missed it at Sundance, but I was able to catch it. And Bo Burnham's in it as well. Let me see. So you guys were talking about Steve McQueen. Yes, there are two Steve McQueens. One's the director, and then one was the action star, the actor. Let me see. Does YouTube live chat have mods? I believe it does. I just don't have any. I just have the little one-on-one with y'all. Have you had the chance to watch Nomad Land yet? Not yet. But I'm excited for that and a Mennonite. I'm waiting for those to just get the full releases. I'm trying to catch all the smaller stuff at the film festivals. These were playing at drive-in theaters, but they were like $100 a pop, and I was like, eh. And they also don't let your dogs still into the drive-in theaters, so I was like, eh. I'm just gonna wait till it's available at home. But I mean, this has just been getting great reviews. I know Zach really liked it. He talked a little bit over on Inchacut Pod when we talked about some of the New York picks, and it's from Chloe Zhao, who's just been, I mean, she's been killing it. It's got Eternals coming up as well. Like, she's gonna be massive. And this is, I believe, Frances. Yeah, it is Frances' first performance since winning the Oscar. Everything else, I know she played the Lord on TV for Good Omens, so I'm very excited for this one. But I'm patiently waiting to be able to catch this one. The other one was, what did I say? A Mennonite. Also was playing at the drive-in. I didn't get to. Believe TIFF was still playing all of these virtually. But that was the last place to have that. This is another one that I have on my radar as well. Y'all telling me Danish isn't Dutch. My bad. Recommend me some good Dutch movies. Have you seen Unsolved Mysteries on Netflix? I saw a couple of the first episodes, and I know they're coming out with a new bunch as well. Any classic movies you don't like? Mine is Friday the 13th. Sheesh. I don't know. There's classic movies that may have not lived up to the hype for me, but I guess one of the most recent ones, 2014, I wouldn't consider a classic, but 2014 had a Boyhood, and I know that's usually the one that I go against with a lot. Are you going to review Grand Army? A few of my friends are in it. Wow, hey, shout out to them. Yeah, I want to make a little Elemy review video where I don't get to too much spoilers or not because I don't have too much of the footage, but I enjoyed it. I really liked the final shot of it. I know there's a lot of controversy going on behind the scenes. I had mentioned a little bit of it last week, but I thought it was pretty good. Thoughts on watching movies and TV shows on 2 times speed or faster? I heard you talking about it earlier. For me, since I watch movies like 4 or 5 times, whenever I'm like rushing to get any of the stuff that I need for like just bits and pieces, Easter eggs and stuff like that, I'm usually watching it in 2 times speed. Sometimes I even watch them slower. I'm also a big fan when it comes to subtitles, and we're a household where subtitles are on no matter what because you end up actually getting a lot of things that you may have missed, not just because of the audio setup or whatnot, but like actual background stuff. One of the greatest things about the Uncut Gems release is that you could actually listen in on some of the stuff that you were missing because people were talking over each other. But I know a lot of people who watch stuff in 2 times speed reduced or faster. But anytime I'm on my rewatch and stuff like that, I love going and being able to watch it a little bit faster. But whenever it's like obviously the first time or movies that I'm really looking forward to, I like to see how it's paced out from the perspective of the director. Did you come across any other series that was as good as Handmaid's Tale? Personally, I haven't finished Handmaid's Tale yet, so I definitely do need to catch up on that. Thoughts on Cold War? Search it up. I believe this was the one got nominated for its cinematography as well. The director of Ida. It was good. Powell, I think, is like he's a very slow director. Very visually engaging, though. I'm trying to think of which one I prefer more. I like the aspect of this mainly because it's about his parents. Like he used a lot of his parents growing up and incorporating that into the movie, and I like a lot of the stuff that he said in the interviews, specifically the ones that he had for TIFF. But yeah, it's a pretty good movie. Euphoria and Fleabag. See, you guys were mentioning. Where do you stand on the Oscars delay? It's fine. I just hope that they don't delay it completely where they're actually not going to show it, because then that's pretty dumb, in my opinion. I hope that they still honor the movies of 2020 because it's still the movies of 2020, you know? Did you ever watch Bong Joon Ho's The Host? Definitely recommend it. I caught it a long time ago, but I have to rewatch it because I had caught it from, I believe it's on Hoopla still. Excuse me. But yeah, I highly recommend it. It was actually the first film of his that I caught. So fun fact there. Are there any psychological horrors that you recommend? I'm trying to think of some from this year. I guess I would say it's not so much of a horror, but Swallow had a little bit of a horror element to it. Definitely had a lot of psychological stuff going on. Not to the highest degree, but Swallow would be one of the first ones that I think of this year. Someone said, "Would you ever consider a series reviewing subscribers' short films?" At one point, that would be something that I want to do because I do get a lot of requests for that. But there's like so much that I could watch in a given day, especially with all the film festivals that are out. But we have talked at one point just getting all the logistics out of kind of having like a film festival just online, which I think would be something cool to do, hopefully in the near future. Let's see. I'm glad you live stream because I think I've seen everything now. Art, I've been following you since you made in real life full reviews. You should mod me out of principle. Sir, I believe there's like a huge line of people who've been asking to do that as well. I wonder if we have. There is a drive-in in NYC. If you actually go check out the New York Film Festival one, I know that they were doing a bunch of drive-ins for the movies that they had there. So I don't know how far it is actually, to be honest with you, because Chicago has one that they opened up, but it's not necessarily on the south side, but they kind of like I think they took over like a soccer field for it. I liked A Mennonite a lot personally. Hope you do too. All right, good. Good to have it on my radar. A Mennonite trailer reminded me of Portrait of a Lady on Fire. I could see the similarities there. Someone said, thoughts on The Usual Suspects? I think it's overrated. Wow, Kryptonius. Wow. I really do like the Usual Suspects. I think it deserves to be as cliched as it is. Obviously, now it has more baggage with it, but I still think it holds up. Thoughts on Fincher set to direct World War Z3? Oh, you meant two. Okay. um, Interesting, I guess. Hope it does well. Dude, thank you for addressing last time how Gillian Flynn added to you. Look, I had no idea. I had even mentioned it with one of the sponsorships that we had. I could not even purchase the original one. Like, I had to literally go through a VPN because it's not available for us over here. But I can see the difference now. I can see the difference now. I was excited for it, but you see, this is what I get for saying I'm excited for something. And then I realized, oh, okay, it doesn't live up to the original. Someone said, which Kim Ki Duk films have you seen and which are your favorites? Let me check out some of this man's stuff. Kim Ki Duk. Hit me up with some of the ones that you recommend. I think I've seen this. I saw this one way back. I rented this from, I was about to say the library's name, but I want y'all knowing where it was. This is a fantastic movie right here. So far, only this one. Um, but yeah, any of these that you think I need to put up on my radar, let me know. And like I said, one of the cool things about Letterboxd is that it tells you right here on the side where the stuff is playing. Highly recommend this one for sure. I've seen it, but I have to recatch this one. Got this one a long time ago. So yeah, I guess that one. But tweet it at me because I'm gonna forget some of the stuff over here in the chat. Tweet me your picks, and I'll make sure to add them on the watch list. Someone said, "Are you excited for the Community movie?" Yeah, I haven't finished the whole series yet, but I know people who are fans of Community like to the hardcore degree, and I know that I'm definitely gonna be one as soon as I finish catching up with the entire show as a whole. But yeah, I'm excited for the movie. I'm excited for the Glow movie, which supposedly they're not giving them that extra season as well, which I think is completely bogus. But hey, we live in the era of streaming now, where new possibilities in order to do that stuff. Someone said, so I just want to ask if it's okay for me to watch La Llorona. I'm still a baby, but I love horror. Teach me how to draw. I can't teach you how to draw, but if you go and you look down below, I have Instagram account for Abby, my good friend, who helped me with all these drawings years ago. That I would say that I want to recommend you a different Llorona. Do not watch the Curse of La Llorona because it's just not good. I recommend this Llorona right here. This is was playing at a couple of festivals at Sundance as well. It's now over on Shutter, and it's a much better, slower movie, but a much better movie as a whole. And then watch all the other stuff on Shutter because Shutter has a bunch of good horror stuff. Someone said, "Have you watched Reno 911? One of my favorite comedies. Not as a whole, just episodes here and there. And I know they got their Quibi series now too. Have you ever seen the New Edition story? I think it's one of the better musical biopics. I also feel biopics work better as limited series. Thoughts? I thought New Edition was like different series of stuff, almost like an American Crime. The New Edition story. Oh, it's the name of the movie. I actually have not seen this. All right. I always assumed it was like a series, like the New Edition of say and so and so and so. All right, gonna have to add this one to my list over here. Did you watch The Man Who Killed Don Quixote? And while you're at it, can you talk about Lost in La Mancha? I have not seen the new one yet, so that's definitely something that I need to check out. Is there a possibility of having Cineflix quizzes like you used to have before patrons of Intracut Pod? I am going to bring that back for December. I want to do an entire what's it called? I was able to book another sponsor for November, and then that way we're going to be able to have more prizes like we did at the beginning of the spring. But this time it's going to be on all of the movies that were released in 2020. A lot of people are saying that not a lot of movies have been released in 2020, but I beg to differ. So, yeah, we are going to bring Cineclash back for that. So stay tuned. Did you hear about Wes Anderson shooting his new movie? Yeah, we talked about that a little bit last week, I believe. Someone had said, I recommend two local movies filmed in my city, Bright Hill Road and Vagrant. I'd also recommend The Oak Room. I will be talking about The Oak Room soon. I was able to catch that for Fantasia. Let's see these two right here. Bright Hill Road. When a misstep after a workplace shooting puts alcoholic Marcy on leave, she heads out to see her sister in California. Halfway there, she stops for a couple of days at the Bright Hill Road boarding house. The walls close in on deeply troubled Marcy as she loses touch with reality and comes face to face with the misdeeds of her past. Sounds solid. See, the other one was Vagrant. Someone else had asked, have you watched Dreams, the Akira Kurosawa one? Just finished it and loved. Please keep doing Letterboxd Mondays. I will. I will, sir. Now I'm going to have to add that Akira to my list as well. Vagrant says, Frank, a homeless alcoholic lives a fruitless existence. All that begins to change when he finds a puppy that was left to die in a garbage bin. Alrighty. Add those two to my list over here. Let's see. Were you able to check out the Lost Okarashi and Shine Your Eyes? If so, what did you think, man? Have not been able to catch up with those yet since I'm still watching all the virtual stuff from home, but I still have those on my list. Have you seen the Kingdom Zombie Netflix series? I did, and I tried logging it on here, but someone had told me that I had logged the wrong one, but I thought it was pretty decent. Um, Someone said, let me explain The Fog. I might. I think not this year because it's too close, but next year I do want to have kind of like a classic horror Oktoberfest type thing. Let's see. Elami said, or Tushar says, just want to thank you for all you do for the community with the constant uploads. One of my favorite YouTubers. Oh, I appreciate you. And shout out Intercut. Appreciate you, Tushar. Always being there as well. Duly noted. Let's see. Devesh says, if the cinema industry were to close down completely, what would you want the last film you saw in cinemas to be? Morbid, sorry. Well, considering that right now, the last movie that I saw in theaters, it was The Hunt. Not that The Hunt, which is Dutch. Or, yeah, not Dutch. Or, yes. The Hunt, and believe it or not, it was this Christian movie that promised like an IMAX thing. I'm already blinking on what it is. I can only imagine. No, not I can only imagine. Well, I believe it's from the same people who made I Can Only Imagine. But if I had to watch one final one, I don't know. That's really depressing. Something in IMAX for sure. No, the last one I saw was I Still Believe, bro. Like this is the last movie I saw in theaters. So I would say something in something that's an IMAX for sure. What's your favorite Asghar Farhadi film? Oh, the first film I ever logged on Letterboxd. Easy. Let me see if I can find this, man. Literally, the first film I had ever seen. Let's see. And I always confuse these two. Right here. The Past. Still my favorite of his. This is the first thing I ever logged on Letterboxd. I created my Letterboxd after watching this movie. So, there you go. Any feel-good films you recommend? Any feel-good films? I've been watching so much depressing stuff. I should be asking y'all that question. I'm not sure if there's some. Let me see what my good friends over here have suggested. All depressing stuff as well, practically. Last Dance, but it's not really a film. That one's very high octane as well. Minari, to a degree, and I know that's playing at some festivals as well. I'd recommend that. Um, yeah, those are a couple right now that I can think of that are fairly new. Someone had asked, "Do you think Palm Springs will be a hot topic for the Oscars?" Probably not, but hopefully they have them present or they add it to some degree in there. Have you seen the Netflix movie Horse Girl? Yes, back when it had premiered at Sundance. I know a lot of people were bigger fans of it, but I thought it was a pretty decent movie. Have you seen the movie Sexy Beast? Ben Kingsley is in it. Yes, I did. Back in the day, it was right before I seen Under the Skin because it was the same director as well. Are you still getting that Blu-ray collection that you promised on Intracut? Holding you to that. Would also like to know if you have any Criterion titles. I do have two Criterion titles. I actually just bought my first Criterion picks not too long ago, and it was the Portrait of a Lady on Fire and Phoenix. So those are two that I would recommend as well. And yes, soon. Have you seen Modern Romance? It's one of Ari Aster's favorites. Absolutely hilarious. I don't think I have. I believe it's this one right here. Gotta add this one to my list. Modern. Hey, look, and it's on Criterion. Do you watch anime? Not enough. I think at the moment I'm finishing up Parasite because I had made a reference to that in something and I got grilled for it. So I was like, all right, I was just making a reference, but now I'm catching up on it. It's pretty good. I know there's two live action movies that go with that as well, but they don't look as good. Ana Maria, shout out to you. Finally watched Greener Grass. What? Perfect response. My favorite feel-good movies are Paddington 1 and 2. There you go. Magnitude Reviews coming in with some pretty good picks. Paddington 1 and 2. Those are fantastic ones to have as well. Let's see. Pieface says, have you seen After the Wedding, the Danish one I really recommend? I saw the newest one because it played at this year, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. This year's... Was it last year's? I don't know when it played, but this played at Sundance, and this was the remake of the original. And I agree with you; it's not better than the original, but it's pretty solid story, pretty solid movie. Have you seen Everybody Wants Some? Also, favorite Linklater film. I have seen Everybody Wants Some. Got to see it at the premiere. I absolutely loved it at the premiere. It is way funnier with a crowd. But my favorite Linklater film. Take a gander at this man's stuff. Spy Kids. What? He was an actor in Spy Kids? All right. I was about to go straight for Before Sunset, but I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, it's this. It's School of Rock. This is not even. It's School of Rock, bro. School of Rock had a Broadway musical, like School of Rock. I watched Blues Brothers for the first time. It's a classic, right? Yes, sir. Whenever I want to feel good, I just watch the show Community. I could definitely see that. Was Unicorn Store anything? What's Unicorn Store? Sounds familiar. Oh my god. I guess not. Completely forgot that came out this year. I remember Horse Girl more than I remember Unicorn Store, and I know both of these came out at the same time. But yeah, not a bad movie. I'm sure some people liked it. It was okay. Someone had said, "Did you watch the Phineas and Ferb film?" As someone growing up in it, I really enjoyed it. Yes, I did. I almost even had a whole video that I was gonna make on it. I didn't get to it, but hopefully I still cover it in a wrap up. Not better than the first movie that they had, and I know that they still have another one in the works that they want to showcase in theaters. So we'll see if that ever comes out. Let's see. Mangs who says, "Pro tip: the School of Rock Broadway soundtrack is fantastic, dude." I didn't even know when we went to go actually watch that. The guy who plays Ned Schneebly gets swapped out every single day. The kids are there all week long. Like that's incredible to me. So that yeah, the Broadway show, while not as great as the movie, those kids were killing it. Illmatic, dope username says, any show that is like How I Met Your Mother, Modern Family, or Community. You know what? I'm gonna add something to your list as one of the best sitcoms in my opinion, but it is on HBO. I've mentioned a little bit most recently, because it's been the thing I've been watching completely during the pandemic. Curb Your Enthusiasm. Check that out. Do yourself a favor. And you know what? Even start with season 10. Start with season 10 and then work your way back from season 1, because that's how I pitched it to my brother. Because I knew if he would have seen season 1, which started like in the 90s, he wouldn't have watched it completely. But he fell in love with season 10 and now he's been watching all of it. Tushar says, what film, movie, podcast do you listen to, or any podcast suggestions? Zach usually has his podcast corners, over on Intercut. Right now, I've just been listening to a lot of interviews. The main thing that I always listen to is like the TIFF Talks, Fantasia. Had a bunch of ones that I was finishing up. Uh, what else? I'm watching a lot of New York ones right now. Now that their festival has wrapped, so right after Chicago, I'll be watching a bunch of theirs. So that's usually what I'm watching. So I guess that kind of constitutes as my podcast because it's a one-on-one with the filmmakers, and I love when they get to talk spoilers. Pieface says, "Have you watched Threads? Also, really recommend it." Let's see, what is Threads? I got two over here. I'm gonna suggest that it's this one right here. I have not caught Threads. But damn, it's everywhere. Oh, it's on Shutter too. Ooh, all right. And that one to my list right there. Let's see, Khalil Music says Bree chose the wrong path after Room. I don't hate her as much as everybody else does, but she's talented. Like she really is talented. I just want her to find like another big like indie hit. Another Room. Hopefully. Do you watch Mr. Robot? Should I watch it? I've caught the first season. Yes, you should watch it. That is one that's definitely worth the deep dive. And I had mentioned in the Emmys how I won the ARG. Yeah, these people, they went above and beyond on the behind the scenes. Attack on Titan. Yeah, I know that's been one of the big ones that has been recommended a lot to me in terms of anime. You should watch A Silent Voice, another one that's been recommended a lot. Uh, this corner of the world, it's on Z Netflix. It'd be fun to see a reaction. Definitely. If you already did, how was it? Ugh. Let me explain. Have you watched the Brazilian classic A Dog's Will? I have not. Gotta be another one to add on my list. Ooh, someone with a hot take here. Schitt's Creek over Community. Ooh. I have not seen this one. Definitely adding this one. Let's see. Someone had recommended Terrified. What is Terrified? Is this the clown one? Yeah. Yeah. Hold on. Where'd it go? I remember this movie. Police Commissioner Funes and three researchers, supernatural phenomena, investigate inexplicable events that are occurring in the suburbs of Buenos Aires. And it's on Shudder. You know what? And that bound to my list as well. Someone had mentioned Arrested Development in terms of sitcoms, funny sitcoms to add as well. Hey, what's up, Zach? Just realized the new Vanessa Kirby movie that a lot of people are talking about, from Pieces of a Woman. It's from the director of White God. Oh, this was playing at some festivals. Okay. Okay. This is a wild movie. Like all these dogs just take over. Okay. And these are real dogs that he didn't even CGI them. I don't know how he did that stuff. Pieces of a Woman. All right. And I've already have it on my watch list for sure. Someone had asked, what's your favorite Stephen King film adaptation? I watched Stand By Me recently, and geez, it broke me. I know that Shawshank is technically just a short, but that's a great adaptation. I know The Shining is according to King, one of the worst adaptations of his stuff, but I'm going to say The Shining as well. Have you talked about Spell on Amazon? I have not. Is it a movie? Is it a show? Let's see if it appears over here. Spell. I'm not seeing this one. After the death of his fiancee, an American illustrator runs out of medication while wandering the isolated Icelandic countryside, unsure if his compulsions are related to his disorder or if he's being forced to unlock ancient secrets. All right, adding that one to the list. See some stuff on Blind Manor, which I'll be working on soon. Love is also another great show. Oh, I second that one right there. Love over on Netflix. Pretty good show as well. Let's see. Someone had mentioned Fargo. Only seen season 1 of Fargo. Did you see Euphoria is coming back December 6th? Damn, now I'm on the clock. Now I gotta make my 13 reasons why I like Euphoria video. Do you watch Outlander? I have not caught Outlander. Have you watched Lars and the Real Girl? It was super underrated, and Ryan Gosling's performance was so good. Yeah, I caught this one way back in the day. Lars and the Real Girl. I don't think I ever logged this one, so I definitely want to rewatch it before I log in. And it's over on Tubi as well. Yeah, I remember this because he's got like a blow up doll. He comes in, and it's his girlfriend. He introduces her to everyone as his girlfriend. Any movies like Exam that you would suggest? The last time I was asked this question, I had to pick, but I can't think of one off the top of my head. It's a pretty decent thriller, but I'm gonna say The Invisible Guest is another nice thriller to have. Also like Circle, because that one also takes place in one room. Have you watched The Good Place? I'm on the final season. Once I wrap that up, I do want to make a video on that because I was watching The Good Place and Good Omens, and I was going to combine them into one video just because they both had good and dealt with the afterlife. But they're gonna be their own separate ones. Have you checked out The In-Betweeners? Oh, my buddy Chase helps me edit some of the videos on LME as well. That is his favorite series. So I've seen a bunch of the jokes and clips here and there. Memories of Invisible Man. Is that a movie? Let's check it out. Let's see. I'm going to answer a couple more, and then I'm going to head out, continue watching some of the Chicago ones. And like I said, definitely check out all of the festivals that I have up there on the list. I would highly recommend it. Oh, it's just part of the Invisible Man series. Oh, Chevy Chase is in it. All right. I'm going to have to add this one. Answer a couple of last ones. Have you watched Donnie Darko? Yes, I have. Have you watched Almost Famous? Yes, I have. Both of those are pretty good. Art, have you watched Hannibal the TV show? No, but I know that is one that I need to... it's been on my radar for the longest time, and I know that's one that I definitely need to make a video on for sure. What did you think of Contratiempo? I believe this one played at Sundance? If I'm thinking of the right one. Or is it The Invisible Guest? Oh, well, I just suggested it, so I guess I liked it. That's a weird way to translate Invisible Guest, but yeah, I've recommended this one a couple of times. I really like it. Thoughts on Barry Jenkins' The Underground Railroad? I just saw. Zach sent me the trailer to this in the morning. It's gonna be incredible. I'm literally gonna go to Barnes and Noble this week, buy the book, read the book. I had no idea it was gonna be a series. I don't know why I thought it was gonna be a movie, but yeah, that sounds fantastic. I'm excited for it. Have you watched The One I Love? Really great, mind-blowing film. Second it as well. Really good relationship movie that's also mixed in with like a genre film dealing with doppelgangers and stuff. I really like this movie. Recommend it. See, I got some more stuff of people recommending Grand Army, so definitely have to get to that. And Bly. See, a couple more. Have you seen Under the Silver Lake? Yes, I have. Absolutely love Under the Silver Lake. I think we had talked a while back about how we had a theory, how it was supposed to be a secret Spider-Man 3 movie, which now we're gonna get that Spider-Man 3 movie. All right, last two. Enjoy the Chicago Fest art. Thanks for explaining to us your thoughts. Your channel has meant a lot to me. Keep it up. Hey, appreciate it, Ben. Hopefully you like a couple of the other stuff that's gonna be playing there, and I'll try to keep you guys updated weekly over here. With the Monday live streams, but then at the same time, I will be making full wrap-up videos, including on one from festivals that have already passed as well, that we've covered on Intercut, but I want to make sure we have videos over here on LME. Thoughts on Barry Jenkins directing the Lion King sequel? Hey, have him get his money. We talk a little bit more about it over on Intercut, but I'm happy for him. I hope he continues to do great stuff. Ana Maria says, I recommend The Voices, directed by Marjan Sartrapi, one of my favorites. I believe this is the one with Deadpool himself. Someone had recommended Rushmore from Wes Anderson. Cocote, which I don't think I have seen. I've not seen Cocote. I have to add this one over here. Um, and thoughts on Aubrey Plaza time travel film. Oh, what's the Aubrey Plaza safety not guaranteed? Yeah, safety not guaranteed. Right there. Let me see. Last one. LaShawn says, "Have you watched Insecure?" Oh, have you seen my Emmys video? That was my final shout out to Insecure. All 4 seasons have been fantastic. Hell, we were even talking about making the joke how the president even caught it when he was tweeting about it. Yeah, highly recommend Insecure. There's a bunch of good stuff that's out there. Someone said Tales from the Loop. I'll end it on this one right here. Tales from the Loop is pretty good. I feel like I don't think it's gonna pop up here. Tales from the Loop. It's the Amazon series where like every single episode is covering. Yeah, it's not popping out. Best Knife did though. It covers a different kind of person in the town with these crazy things that are happening. To me, that's like Amazon Prime's version of the crazy town with supernatural stuff happening. Whereas Netflix has Dark, the show that I prefer. Um, and then HBO, I'm pretty sure has their version, and then Hulu's gonna have their version, and everyone's gonna have their version of the show with like the town where crazy, creepy things are happening. But yeah, Tales from the Loop is pretty good. I know it had a premiere at one of the festivals, but if you haven't caught Dark, I would highly recommend Dark even more. But again, appreciate you guys spending the time over here as we log a lot of these movies, as you guys add some of the stuff over to my playlist, which I always appreciate. But like I said, definitely check out the film festivals that are playing right now. I have the links down below in the description. Let me know which ones you're catching. If you have any other ones that you recommend, tweet them over at me over at LME Explains. But yeah, I recommend On the Rocks. This is coming out. The A24 movie is going to be on Apple TV Plus. So as long as you have that service, or you buy yourself a new iPhone, you'll be able to catch this one. Cute little movie, funny at points. But then Shiva Baby, oh my goodness, Shiva Baby was fantastic. Highly recommend it. Catch it right now because it's playing at Newfest as well as Cicada. Those have been my two favorites. Still watching stuff there. We're gonna have a full-on breakdown over on Intercut, as well as stuff from Chicago. We have an upcoming one from the New York Film Festival. So a bunch of other stuff that we want to get on your guys' radar. But thank you guys for joining me today. See you guys on the next one. Take care, and I'll see you guys later.